Some great people are behind this organization. We are going to do more. I like the words up there that some of you can't see. And it's from Blue Cross, and they say, "For what matters." That says a lot about us as well. What really matters. Well, I could go back and call the governor, Mr. Secretary, or senator, mayor. I met you when you were mayor. And as you know, I was a chaplain down the air base for a number of years, and he was different. Unfortunately, the military does lose people. With every accident, he came and met the families. Now, normally a politician comes, they shake a hand, want to get a picture, and they're gone. He wasn't for that at all. I remember a young lieutenant, who was going to be commissioned, who died coming back from the bombing range. Dirk Hempthorne spent an hour with the widow, an hour, and listened. I could say a lot about the accolades of Dirk Hempthorne, but I think the best thing I could say to you, you are a friend of the military, a special friend. Now, OMB, as we call it, has an umbrella organization now. We've had to reorganize, and it's called OMB Worldwide, because we are worldwide. When Charlene Mayer, the president at the time of Blue Cross, talked about how we were international, it hit me, and I realized we are. We're in Germany, we're in Lakenheath. Very soon we're in the Pacific to Guam, then to Okinawa in Japan. Gowan Field has about 25,000 people out there. They're not only here in Idaho, but they have units in Oregon and Nevada and Montana. And we support every one of them and all the locations here in the state. As you saw at Mountain Home Air Force Base, we've been there for just a number of years. Camp Lejeune. You know, you all read about what's going on over in Israel. The 29th Expeditionary Force that we support is deployed over there and ready to launch. Ramstein Air Base, which Charlene brought a check to this last summer, said they couldn't believe how busy that place is as they support the Ukraine situation in Israel as well. There's 57,000 troops at Ramstein. Coast Guard, some of you may have read a few months ago, a helicopter in Alaska had crashed. I got a hold of the commander, and we helped them out. We're in Jacksonville, Florida. And the list just goes on. OMB. And we have another organization called the OMB Foundational Fund for Health and Wellness. Now, we give out these gift cards to young men and women who have no other recourse. Nix, you saw that down at Air Base. They had no place to turn. Oh, they can get Air Force aid as a loan, but that compounds the problem. And we have a program that has developed over the years in which people are vetted. And they receive whatever assistance they need by a card. What are they buying? Groceries and diapers and formula. Housing. Do you know, just yesterday, DOD announced that they're not sure whether the president's going to say anything about the military budget. They're concerned. The junior enlisted are losing $87 a month on their housing allowance, up to $185 a month. They don't get a raise like we can get a raise. Where do they get the money? usually taken from the food bill. A young Marine who has his mother living with him and a family broke down in tears. She said, "We were going to go hungry if it hadn't been for OMB." The soldiers' families agonizing over choices. Do I buy groceries, fuel, house? We helped her. Every year we deliver about 500 high-end toys. Expensive toys we give to the Guard because they deserve it. We give food boxes. And it was only a couple years ago, one woman said if it hadn't been for OMB, they would not have had Christmas. Yes, we've helped out with house fires, other losses. But I think the toughest thing for me that I had to hear, and Chris did give me permission to share this. A young woman was mustering out of the Marine Corps, and on the way out the door, her husband says, "I'm leaving you, I'm divorcing you, goodbye." Can you imagine that? Coming out of the military, but she had an 11-year-old autistic child. Now, those of you that have worked with very special needs children, they're pleasers, aren't they? They want to be accepted, and this young child was no different. Another 11-year-old started bullying her, and the school chimed in bullying her. And they were saying in one statement, "Why don't you just go commit suicide, kill yourself?" She did just that. We helped with the funeral expense. Those are the things that we do on a regular basis throughout the year. Now, we can do more. The CFO here, Dave, asked us, is there more needs out there that you're not meeting? Remember that, Dave? Yeah, there's a lot. We need help. We need help from corporations. We need help from foundations and individuals as well. So when those needs come up, we can give them the sizable grant that they need for that particular emergency, in addition to the food cards. That's where we're going. And tonight, all funds that are dedicated or checks written out to OMB Foundation are used right here in Idaho and do not go anyplace else in the country. They stay right here in Idaho. And like the governor said, we take care of Idahoans. Also, part of the foundation that we're going to do this year is we want to have a special scholarship for special needs children that need remedial help or need some medical help, that we can say to the parents, we're there with you. If you're active duty, they get the help, but not if you're the Guard. They're on their own. We're also going to adopt a teenager. Now, some of you are aware of the Challenge Academy up north. They'll take the dropouts who have no place to go and give them another chance. So we're going to give a scholarship for the teenagers to go through that program, get them back into life. That's just two of the things we do. Governor, remember when you were Interior Secretary when they had the fires down on the reservation? A judge called me up and said they needed some help. So we went down there. They had no electric and all their food was spoiled. We brought in a generator. Then we started rolling the tractor trailers loaded with water and food, batteries, and supplies. The young man said, "Why are you doing this?" We care. That's what we do. We do this every day. We need your help. Now, those of you who have your wives next to you, ladies, nudge your husbands. I think that's why a couple of Blue Cross people didn't bring their wives. You need to get behind this. In your corporation, go to the president and tell them this is a worthy cause. There is nobody in the United States, in Idaho, that does what we do. Plenty like the VA and American Legion, they have programs, but they don't help the people with needs. We hear on a regular basis they have $25 for a family of 5 for 2 weeks. Every day we hear this. I guess it could be best summed up by this young airman who said, a woman, a wife, "I didn't think anyone cared." Can you imagine that? Food insecurity. You send the military member to combat, and we are at combat. Make no mistake about it, we are. To know that the wife and the children are on food stamps, and the kids are going to bed at night hungry, that's what's going on out there. So I invite you to be part of it.